Hello, troopers, and welcome to the 501st Com Chatter. I am Chloe.
I'm well. How are we doing, guys?
Today we have a really fun episode for you guys.
Especially for Madam here as well.
You.
So, like you've seen on our social, and like we said last episode, today we are going to be talking about the Queen herself.
Padmé Amidala.
Um,
And her handmaidens as well.
Yes. Now, I will admit, during my research, I have found out a lot about her handmaidens, and I've also found out that there are a lot of them, more than I realised. But yeah, so we're going to do that as a bit of a fun episode today, something a bit different. Our resident Padme here is going to be discussing all things Padme, and then you got me for the handmaidens. So enjoy.
I mean, some of them, there's not a lot of information about them, so
yeah, there's only little bits that we know. So I've been doing as much research as I can. I hope what you find is informative and you enjoy today's episode. Do you want to show them what you're wearing as well for today's episode?
The Padmé diaper snippet necklace.
Yeah.
Just thought, why not
It's
wear
Padmé
it? You can't really see it very well because I'm too low down, but it's fine.
We'll go down a bit. There we go. How about
Okay.
There we go. So you can see it better.
Yes.
So yeah, this would be a fun episode for you guys. This Sunday we will be attending the New York Comic-Con.
New York?
Newport.
I wish.
That's a blunders moment there for me. Sorry about that, guys. The Newport Comic-Con.
Yes.
I don't know why I said
in Wales Comic-Con.
Yes.
So if we do see anything Star Wars there, or if any of you guys are going to Wales Comic-Con, say hello and we'll give you a sticker.
Yeah.
But yeah, if not, then that's fine, and we'll let you guys know what Star Wars stuff that we see.
Yes, because there isn't many Star Wars guests there, but there is Moff Gideon is there. Warwick Davis is also there. His son is also there, who was another Ewok in Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, should be fun.
Yes.
There's probably going to be lots of cool cosplays there, so we will keep an eye out for you guys.
We might end up walking past Giancarlo, Warwick Davis.
Could you imagine that and be like, oh, it's Moff Gideon?
We haven't booked a photo op with anyone from Star Wars, but we'll hopefully walk past them.
Yeah, of course,
see them from afar.
Yeah. So we're not going to go into it, but this Comic-Con, we're not going there for Star Wars reasons. We're going there for other nerdy reasons. But we're still going to be on the lookout for cool cosplays and stuff. So
and cool figures and Funko Pops and Lego sets and Lego minifigs, just everything.
So we might be doing a little haul video from Comic-Con.
Maybe.
Let's see what they have there.
Yeah.
Because they might have some really cool Funkos or, like you said, minifigs that we can add to our collection. So
we'll have a look.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
We might come out with something, we might not, but depends what they have.
Yes.
Because I feel like we already have a lot of things.
We do, but we can always have more. Speaking of Funkos,
there is new Funko coming out, which
September.
Will is very excited for, and he's saying that he's definitely going to have this collection.
It's actually a big Funko as well.
Yeah, which we don't currently have any big ones. We've only got the
I think they're classed as the deluxe ones, but they're they have a nice base and they're normally on something.
They're
so there's
a bigger box.
Yeah. So there's Queen. Speaking of Queen Amidala, there's a Queen Amidala where she's sat on the throne, but it's a little bit bigger because it's got the set piece of the throne and stuff like that. But it's actually the only bit of news we have this week, which is mad because we normally are look at all these new figures, look at all these new black hot toys.
I mean, to be fair, we have had a lot of news recently. Like last week, there was a lot of
Yep.
Lego sets, and there's usually quite a few Funkos and stuff. But yeah, I haven't really seen anything much this week. But yeah,
That is true.
maybe next week we'll have one.
But yes, this Funko is going to be on everyone's list.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Ta-da-da.
So it is Anakin from Revenge of the Sith when he's on one of the lava droids on Mustafar. I think it looks really cool. I don't know why, but with the Anakin Funko Pops from Revenge of the Sith, like it's on my one that I've got there with the Sith eyes.
Yeah.
It's on this one as well. They always make his hair like light brown. Like,
Yeah.
I almost want his hair to be darker.
Yeah.
Like, it's too light for me.
I mean, this looks slightly different shade to the Sith Eyes one. I'd say that one, his hair kind of looks a bit gingery.
The same with the Attack of the Clones Anakin, like.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the like Clone Wars Anakin hair, his hair is obviously a lot darker.
Yeah.
So I think I would have liked that if given the choice.
Yeah.
But I do really like the pose, and I love that it's on the really cool like base.
Yeah, I do quite like this base. How Star Wars is in that like lava orange colour.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a really cool like display piece. I really hope as well they do like an Obi-Wan to go with it.
I was just saying that they should do like Obi-Wan on the high ground. That would be cool.
That would be quite cool.
Like a bit of a higher base and then just Obi-Wan on top. But I'm thinking, obviously, next year is going to be the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? So
True. I
think next year we're probably going to be getting a lot of Funkos, Lego sets and everything Revenge of the Sith themed, hopefully.
That's a good point, because let's have a little chat about that.
We had the Phantom Menace anniversary this year, and we had quite a few Funko Pops being released for that.
That's a good point. So let's have a little debate about that, actually, like a discussion. So obviously, like you mentioned just then, Phantom Menace this year, we had Padme in, like disguise, Anakin in the Starlight with the helmet. We've had, deluxe her Queen Amidala on the throne.
There was the
Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
There was Jar Jar, the Roger droid, which
the
got little Roger over there.
Good old Roger.
Also, they had a lot of Droidicas. Like they had the Droidica Lego set, the Black Series, and Hot Toys.
True.
And then we've just had last week we had released the Hot Toys Darth Maul hologram, and then there was some other ones as well. I think there was another Darth Maul figure, and
yes, I think there was but it's in the Phantom Menace box.
Yeah, but
so the old packaging.
It was like the red sort of old packaging with the gold letters, and we had a B1 battle droid as well.
So if they do Revenge of the Sith, they could do, in my opinion, this is ones they could do that I think would be really cool as a Funko. They could do another Commander Cody, because the Commander Cody that like came out years ago is still really cool, because he's got the little hologram of like Order 66. So they could do another one of Cody.
They could.
We could get. Well, we've recently in the new so we say Sith or Dark Side series, which, by the way, this Funko that we are showing is actually called Darth Vader's First Appearance, which I think is really interesting and unique. But it's part of the Sith lot, and there is a Palpatine in that where he's like doing the Force lightning. So and he's scarred. So it's like an updated version. So I don't think we'll get a Palpatine. Yeah. We could get another General Grievous, but I think there's two already.
We just had the General Grievous Hot Toy as
True.
well. I think they could
Beefy Clanker.
They could do a lot with Vader, like an episode 3 Vader scene in like Funko.
Maybe he's on the table.
Yeah.
That might be a cool one.
Like maybe
It might, because
like the Palpatine and then him.
So you know how they do like some of the long ones. So you've got Vader where he's like on the floor reaching for Luke.
Yeah.
That they did with the Return of the Jedi. Okay. They could do one like that, but they could also do Padme giving birth, like on the table. Like,
yeah,
they could do Padme
or
in her
like Anakin choking her, or like
they could do Padme with the like Mustafar outfit.
Well, they could just have a Vader with his like fists up, looking up, like no. That would be cool. They could do so much.
Yeah.
They could have like a set with Kenobi and General Grievous, and then he's like jumping down. It's like, hello there.
But they would probably do that as a 2-pack, like face, like you put them facing each other. That could be a good one.
There's so much they could
Anakin
do.
and Dooku beheading. That could be quite a cool one.
Yeah.
There's lots
so
we could do. So, and I think the box as well would look really cool.
We could even get a beefy clanker Funko Pop. Imagine that.
They might do another 212, like in the same sort of style as the new one.
I was going to say they need to do that because all the old clone Funkos, they've changed their visor now. So now they need to do like reg clone Funkos. Like a reg, a 212. Obviously, they've done 501st, they've done 332nd, but I think we need more Clone Legions. And also, think of it, they still haven't done Bad Batch Season 3 stuff. So, I don't know what they're doing with that. But I think we need a Scorch, we need a Commander Wolf, and we need Bad Batch Season 2 armor. And, yeah.
Just put us in charge of all like Star Wars
everything.
Marketing and products, and we will just create the best things ever.
I'm really confused by this whole Skeleton Crew set because we've not even had a trailer. We've not had anything. It's not out until December, and yet it's an August 1st release. So I feel like they made a bit of a mistake with that, and they should have done like a Bad Batch set or something.
But it's like we said last time, wasn't it? It's like we have a set for a show and a ship we've not seen yet and don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Like, was it? It's August 8th now, and we still don't have any actual like footage of Skeleton Crew, which to me baffles me that they've not released it.
Oh well. At least we know their names and stuff now.
Yeah. So yeah, here's the sort of Sith box for it.
I do really like this. The Darth Vader first appearance, because like.
But it's interesting though, because I would have classed Darth Vader's first appearance. Oh, that's another Funko. They could do him doing his temple march with the hood up.
Ooh.
Not saying you've got to have like 501st troopers behind.
Do you know what? They should do a Lego set of the temple, right? Or even just like part of the temple, and then have an Anakin minifig with option to put a hood on him, and then like 4 501st troopers or something. I know there's obviously a lot more than that, but in a Lego set, how many troopers are they going to put realistically? True. So then you can have like Anakin in the middle, and then like 2 troopers either side of them, and then if anyone else has.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they do a Revenge of the Sith Anakin with like Temple March, where he's like walking, and he's got his hood up. No, but as a Funko as well. Yeah. I will buy another 501st trooper, and then can you imagine the photo? You could have like Anakin with 2 501st like behind him. Sorry, we're getting carried away.
Also, they need to do a 5s. How cool would that be?
That was rumored. Remember, we were talking about that was a possible leak.
Yeah, because we've got a 5s minifigure, but we need a 5s Funko as well.
We need them all.
It would go so well with Rex, and I think. Maybe you take Rex out of the box for that.
Maybe. But yeah, here's the box for Darth Vader first appearance.
Yes.
But still very cool. And I will get this deluxe one because I think it just looks so good. Yes. So, like I said, we're on to today's episode. And as you can tell from the picture, we're talking about Queen Amidala.
Padmé.
Or, as she's first announced, it's Queen Amidala herself.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of information about Padmé. Obviously, some of it you might already know because some of it's from the films and stuff. But I'm just talking about like her kind of what happens with her in these films, you know. So she was born in 46 BBY. So if you guys don't know, BBY is before the Battle of Yavin. So Battle of Yavin is the blow up of the Death Star in episode 4. So 46 years before that happened, she was born. Her real name is Padmé Nabiri. Now, it says this on a lot of figures, and I've always been confused by it because I'm like, I thought she was Padmé Amidala, or, you know, after she gets married, maybe Padmé Skywalker. But no, Padmé Nabiri is her actual name. And her dad was called Rui Nabiri, and her mum was called Jabal Nabiri. So you only really see them in like deleted scenes.
Yes, but I will quickly mention they are in the Plagueis novel, which I just finished, and there is a young Padme in it when she's like before she's queen,
Cool.
and basically Palpatine is the one who speaks to her mum and dad and says, "You should get Padme to run for queen." So Palpatine was the one who put Padme there, which is crazy. Isn't
it? That is crazy. I didn't actually find that out on my research. Interestingly,
there you go. Well, it is Legends
because it's Legends, and what I've been looking at is canon. But you
True.
know, it's if it's canon to you, then it's canon to you, unless it gets changed. But yeah, I think that's quite a cool idea. But anyway, so as a child, she baked every day, and she traveled a lot with her father to offer aid to suffering planets. So really, her and her family have always been like very helpful personality, you know, come to anyone's aid, right? So when she was 7, she was sent with her father to the planet Shadar Biboran, which I'd never heard of before. But apparently they had an ecological disaster, and basically the population needed to relocate, but apparently it failed, and they didn't get on with their new like location. So then she basically said like she would do anything for people because she felt really bad that like that happened when she was only trying to help. She was known from a young age she would have potential in public service. So just I guess her personality, the way she spoke and everything, everyone was just like that you are gonna go far someday. You can be in public service. And yeah. So basically when she devoted herself to civic duty at 8 years old, joining the apprentice legislator junior senate, basically a junior senate program.
The Senate for Kids.
Yes, where she met Rush Clovis.
Boo.
Yep, you don't like him.
Boo.
But I'll get more on him later on. There's not really much information about them, but basically she met him there.
Boo.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going
eventually she became junior senatorial advisor, and she attended the Theed Royal Academy to learn how to become a political leader. So again, she's really devoting herself to be like this leader sort of persona. At 12 years old, she participated in the Legislative Youth Program, where she met a boy called Palo Jamabi. So this is the guy that she's talking to with Anakin in episode 2, where she's like, He's got dark curly hair, dreamy eyes.
Okay,
and then
I get the picture.
Yeah, it's like, okay, shut up. But apparently their relationship didn't last long. Because he wanted to part ways with politics and he wanted to become an artist. So he left and then they broke up, and then basically she went on to study more. So she then became supervisor of Theed, and 2 years later started her campaign for Queen. So she basically started this campaign. She said that she would, you know, she would be like a really helpful leader and stuff, and she was up against other people, but she ended up winning, and she was 14 years old when she became queen, which I think is really young. Like, for her to become queen of a whole planet.
But to think that she's 14 in that picture.
I think she might be a bit older at that point, but yeah, probably only like 15 or something. True. Which she looks a lot older because I mean, Natalie Portman was, but still, it's very young to have that responsibility where you're like making decisions for the whole country. You know, you're dealing with like adults and everything. Like, it's crazy to me. She adopted the name Amidala as a royal name while she was in office. So she is still Padmé Amidala, but Amidala was like basically her name when she was queen. So she became queen. There was a big change on the planet of Naboo when she became queen. So the Trade Federation set up a blockade of battleships around the planet because they wanted her to sign a treaty, meaning Naboo would be handed over to the Federation. So basically, the Separatists came along and they were like, look, we want to take over all these planets. We want to own Naboo. And she's there like, no, I'm queen. You're not having it. So,
but it was, I will admit as well, again, from the Plagueis novel, we learn this was all set up by Plagueis and Palpatine. So this was orchestrated by the Sith anyway. So.
Bloody Palpatine, he caused enough drama.
I know.
Nice. Speaking of Senator Palpatine, he brought up the issue in the Senate of the Republic, but no avail. So he's saying, the Separatists have boarded this planet or whatever.
Trade Federation.
Yes, Trade Federation are trying to take over this planet. But then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon wanted to negotiate a truce with the Trade Federation leader at the time, Newt Gunray. However, he decided to make an attempt to kill them instead, which obviously we see in Phantom Menace. A lot of this is going to be plot of Phantom Menace. So, obviously, they went to escape to Naboo to meet with Padmé. The Trade Federation were surprised at their invasion on the planet. Their starship got damaged, so they were on Tatooine. Padmé decided to disguise herself and assist them on Tatooine, where they met young Anakin Skywalker. Obviously, the whole scenes where he's like, "Are you an angel?" and all this happened, and they become friends. And he wins the pod race, so they can get out of there because they can fix their ship now. And then Anakin gave her this necklace to remember him by. Then when they got back to Coruscant, Queen Amidala was encouraged by Palpatine to vote for no confidence in Chancellor Valorum, which basically gave Palpatine an advantage because then he would be like nominee for the office of becoming Chancellor instead of just Senator Palpatine. So it's all just a ploy to get him to be in more power. But yeah, anyway, she decided to return to her home planet because she's like, these Trade Federation are still here. I want to get rid of them. So she wanted to free her people, and she formed an alliance with the Gungans, so they could become forces against the Trade Federation. Padmé Panaka and her gang located Newt Gunray and brought him to justice, because we all know the iconic scene where she's like, here's a new treaty. I've decided on a new treaty and all this. So, yeah. And then, obviously, the Jedi took care of Maul. And then Anakin, unplanningly, took out the main Trade Federation control ship, which shut down all the droids, and Naboo was free again. So, thanks to Anakin, he helped out big there.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, thanks to Padmé, obviously going back to Naboo and being like, right, we need to make a change here, and make an alliance with the Gungan committee and all of that. So, yeah. I think teamwork makes the dream work. She's got Naboo free again.
So I'm just thinking of the Gungan committee.
So she was queen for 2 4-year terms. So she was queen for 8 years in total. So she was 22 when she stopped being queen. So it's a long time being queen. But then I guess in normal, like, not Star Wars things, they're in service for more than 8 years usually. But yeah, she was 22 when she wasn't queen. So obviously after being queen, she became senator and represented the people of Naboo for the Senate. This was all during like the final years of the Galactic Republic, obviously, as we know, before Order 66 and all that. As the Separatist army started to grow, Palpatine sought emergency powers, obviously eventually leading to the Grand Army of the Republic, which is the clones. Padmé returned to Coruscant to help resolve the issues of the Separatists getting more power. However, there was an assassination attempt on her, which we all saw at the start of Attack of the Clones with Corday, which you'll probably go into Corday a little bit. But basically, obviously, because she has this assassination attempt, then they sent Anakin and Obi-Wan to help her. Obviously, Anakin hasn't seen her in like 10 years, and he's like, what? I gave this girl a necklace, and she was an angel, and I wanted to marry her one day. So, So then, obviously, they go to help her. Then there's another assassination attempt with the shapeshifter. So they're like, right.
Zam Wettel, I think. Wettel?
Sam Wessel, yeah. And then, obviously, Jango Fett hired her and all this. But they're like, right, there's been 2 assassination attempts. We think you need to move planets. So then Anakin's like, right, I'll go with her to Naboo and she'll be safe there. So feelings grew in their time away together. Obviously, we've all seen Attack of the Clones. They kissed, and Anakin confesses his love to her and all that. And she's like, I can't, I'm a senator. And he's Jedi, and he doesn't want to get like expelled from the Order. So they're in this kind of situation where they're like, no, this ain't gonna work. We'd be living a lie and all this. So they're just like, right, we'll just stay friends then. But, they have feelings. Anakin started getting nightmares about his mother, knowing he had to save her. Padmé came to him to Tatooine to try and find her. They discovered she'd been sold, and she got married to the Lars family. But she was taken by the Tusken Raiders. Anakin finds her in the Tusken Raider camp, where she's suffering and basically dies in his arms. Obviously, this fuels him with rage, and he kills all of them. And he comes back to Lara's home, and then Padmé's like, what's happened? And then, yeah, she basically comforts him. And again, their relationship, they're kind of bonding, all of this. So then, obviously, time goes on. Obi-Wan needs help on Geonosis. So Padmé being her like helpful self, she's like, look, we need to help Obi-Wan, because this is what she's always done all her life, help people. So she goes, right, we need to go help Obi-Wan. So then they go to Geonosis, end up getting captured, obviously, long story short, because you guys have seen the films. And then she confesses her love to him, to Anakin.
What a picture.
Yes, I love this picture.
It's deep.
Obviously, he's very surprised by this, because he's like, you love me? And she's just like, yeah, we're gonna die, and I thought I'd tell you before we die, basically. Obviously they don't die, but she just thought she'd tell him, because this is like a very dangerous thing that's about to happen, and she wanted him to know before anything happened to her. Because imagine if something did happen and he never knew that she loved him.
That's very sad. Very sad.
But luckily they're fine.
Yeah.
And then obviously they have the Battle of Geonosis, and then at the end they get married in secret. So instead of exchanging rings, they exchange droids. So that's how Anakin ended up with R2-D2, and she ended up with C-3PO, because C-3PO was always Anakin's droid. But yeah, I think that was really cool. Obviously through the Clone Wars, she continued to work towards peace and diplomacy. Through many adventures in Clone Wars, she tried to negotiate plans for peace with the Separatists. Like, literally, just all along, she just wants no war. Like, it's literally what she says to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. She's like, hold me like we did by the lake on Naboo. There was no war, no fighting, none of this. Like, she doesn't want any of it. And obviously, because she is a senator, every meeting is like, she's trying to negotiate. Look, we don't need to fight. Let's just stop fighting. Like, yeah. So obviously through the Clone Wars, she meets up with various separatists, various senators. And she had a reunion with an old friend, Rush Clovis. So we've all seen the arc in the Clone Wars. If you haven't, definitely watch Clone Wars. But this obviously fuels a rage in Anakin, because he sees Clovis trying to get close to Padme. Obviously, no one knows about Anakin and Padme's relationship, because they have to keep it all secret. So it's like, Clovis doesn't know that he's doing anything wrong. He's just kind of like, hey, there's a girl here. I like her. And Anakin's just like, whoa, that's my wife. So obviously this causes a bit of friction with Anakin and Padme, because she's like, look, you need to be like professional here. You're just getting angry and he's going to suspect something. And she's like, look, I'm not dating him or anything. It's just, he's being who he is. But anyway, they fell out, but then they sort of made up again. And basically 3 years into their relationship, Padme fell pregnant. So obviously we know in Revenge of the Sith, she tells Anakin that she's pregnant, and they didn't know that she was pregnant with twins at the time. So she was just kind of like, what are we going to do about this baby then? And he's just like, don't worry about anything right now. Like, he said it's like the happiest moment in his life and all of that. But obviously inside they are worried, because they're like, if anyone finds out who this baby is, then Anakin's going to get expelled from the Shadow Order and all this. But secretly, they want to have a family. But yeah. So then Anakin starts having these sporadic nightmares about her dying in childbirth. So he obviously can't sleep at night. She's worried about him. She's concerned. She's like, what's going on? He's like, I'm having these dreams about you. It's like the ones with my mother. I don't want the same thing to happen to you, because obviously he's lost his mother. So she's like, look, everything is fine. Don't worry about it. But he still worries. And obviously we've all seen Revenge of the Sith, where he goes to see Yoda and Palpatine. He's like really scared about it. He ends up turning to the dark side, and all to have the power to save her life. And then he ended up force choking her, and
she lost the ability.
Yeah. But she did give birth to the twins, and her last words were, "There's still good in him." And even like after he choked her and everything, when she was giving birth, she's there asking Kenobi, like, where's Anakin? Is he okay? Like, and the first thing he says as well when he comes up as Vader, he's like, where's Padmé? Is she safe? Is she alright? And Palpatine's like, you killed her, and making him feel really bad about it. But like, yeah. So that's the story of Padmé. Which good. A lot of it we already know. But yeah. I really love the story of Padme and Anakin. I think it's my favourite part about Star Wars, really. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
That was nice. We all love Padme.
We do.
So now it's me. It's my turn. And I'm going to be talking to you about the Handmaidens of Padme. Now, start us off, little quiz. How many handmaidens did she have in her, shall we say, life? From when she was queen to when she died as a senator. How many did she have?
I don't know.
Have a guess.
Like 12.
Close. 13. She had 13. And I'm going to be talking to you about every one of them. So bear with me, guys. So we're going to start with a little bit before the handmaidens. So basically all the handmaidens were selected with Captain Paneka, who was obviously head of security, and they all had either, like resemblance to her, but then they were also bodyguards as well, and and they all decided as well to change their names to have this sort of connection, all of them together. So you've got Padme, you've got Sabe, Rabe, so they all were basically the same. So I'm starting us off with Sabe.
Keira Knightley.
Yes, one of probably the most known decoy and handmaiden. And she actually has a very interesting life as well. Like to go with Padme. So we know her as the decoy queen in Phantom Menace. She was also so she stayed with Padme through her 2 terms as queen. She was actually sent on a special mission by Padme to free slaves on Tatooine and relocated them to Carolinus. But the main sort of, shall we say, secondary special mission was to find Shmi Skywalker and release her. Because obviously Padme had met her years ago. But sadly, Sabe couldn't find Shmi. Which I thought was quite interesting, because I thought she would have. But yeah, so after the death of Padme, her and Tonra, who was like a security guy, they changed their identities because they wanted to find out what happened to Padme, because they were like something's not right here. So they changed their identities and to find out what happened to her, and formed a group called the Amidalians, which was sort of made up of like Naboo loyalists, and consisted of most of of lots of her handmaidens were in it, which again quite cool. They discovered that Vader was involved in the death of Padme, because I didn't realize this, but when Padme died, I always wondered, like, what did the galaxy think happened to her? Because she just died. It was actually blamed on the Jedi rebellion. So they swindled it to be like, oh, the Jedi killed her.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was really interesting. But so they learned that Vader was involved. And she set out on a quest to like bring revenge, and take revenge against the Dark Lord. They had a few encounters together, and actually worked together on missions as well. And she actually for a time worked with him, and was on the Executor, on in the Super Star Destroyer. But something really interesting as well, she put the clues together that Anakin was Darth Vader. And there's this really cool scene in the comic. By the way, all of her like work with Vader is in the Darth Vader comics. Please go read it. It's such a good comic. And when Vader first sees her, he literally is like, Padme. Like, he genuinely thought it was her. And there's this scene in the comic where Vader's like, Anakin Skywalker is dead, and she's like, I was Padme's greatest shadow. I know what she knew. You can't fool me. Anakin vanished, and you appeared. She knew, and that little look as well she's given, like, you're Anakin. Like, she knew, bless. Which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, so she worked a bit with Vader. And she realised as well that was Anakin.
Yeah.
So next up we have Rabe, and she is actually the only handmaiden to have lines in Phantom Menace that is like named as her. So so for example, when Keira Knightley's speaking, it's obviously decoy Queen Amidala, and she's not named as Sabe, whereas Rabe was actually named and has the lines. So if you don't know who she is, she's the woman in Phantom Menace who's like, I'm sorry, Annie, Padme's not here right now. And then Padme, as the Queen's like, who is it?
Yeah.
And she's like, Anakin Skywalker to see Padme, my Queen. But yeah, so she had speaking lines. It's very cool. And yeah, she's actually really interesting as a character as well. There was a lot on her. So she was Padme's wardrobe mistress. So she was in charge of like Padme's royal get-ups and looks, depending on what the situation was. So she was basically in charge of that. She was a bit naughty at school when she was a youngster, and she was forced to leave school instead of them kicking her out because it would have looked bad on the school. But she basically created a forgery ring. So like selling fakes to unwary off-worlders on Naboo. Now, again, like I mentioned, Captain Paneka was in charge of putting these group of handmaidens together and picking them. And he picked Rabe because of her sort of criminal background,
Mm.
he thought she could teach the queen how to sort of be deceitful and cheat. Do you know what I mean? To give the queen the like edge that she needs, which I thought was really interesting. So that's quite cool. When Padme and Sabe switched places, like in the Phantom Menace, we see the Queen looking out the window, and it's clearly Padme. It's like, and then we next see the Queen, and it's Sabe as the Queen. Rabe was the one who applied the makeup to Sabe to make her look like
Padme.
Yeah, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah,
and so basically, again, with like all her handmaidens that were with her when she was queen, they all left and went and did their own thing, and then she got some other handmaidens when she was senator. And Rabe went on to study music, which was quite cool. And she would again later join the Amidalians, and later.
That's cool.
Very cool. So now we have Corday. Now this isn't a very fine picture, but what Corday was one of 3 handmaidens for Padme when she was senator. They felt that obviously it would give her, some protection, and clearly it works. So, in case you don't know, she is the decoy Amidala that's at the start of Attack of the Clones when she comes down the ramp.
Yeah.
Really interestingly, though, and I thought this when I first watched it, when she was coming down the ramp, she was actually played by Natalie Portman. To give it the look of Padme.
Yeah.
But then the explosion goes off, the bomb goes off, and it's like a stunt lady. And then they had Veronica Segura, who played Corday up close when she was like, "My lady, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I
failed you, Senator." Oh. So that was really cool that they actually got like Natalie Portman to first to be like, "Oh, it's her." Corday was one of the candidates for Padme when she was queen, like one of the handmaidens, but she had poor hand and eye coordination, so she struggled with like the blaster. So she wasn't selected as the handmaiden. But then when 4 years later, when 4 years later, whatever, Rabe suggested Corday because of her striking resemblance to Padme.
Yep.
So it was actually Rabe who suggested Corday be one of the handmaidens.
That's good.
She was actually really, her voice. Wait, is it this one? Let me just check. Yes. So Corday's voice was able to perfectly match Padme's to the point that a voice identifier couldn't tell them apart.
Oh, that's
which
good.
Obviously as a decoy is the perfect thing. So she was that perfect in terms of matching Padme's voice that you couldn't have told it. Couldn't tell the difference, which I thought was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So what we don't realise is that we see in Attack of the Clones, not long after her death, Sabe sort of came back and took over as Senator Amidala in the Senate when she was away. When she went in disguise and went back to Naboo. Sabe was Padme in the Senate.
Mhm.
So quite cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So next we got Dorme.
Mhm.
Um,
She's shown up a lot in Attack of the Clone. She's the one that sort of like goes to her bedroom after
yes.
the little bugs go in there. She's like, "You're right, my lady."
Yeah.
And doesn't she see her off before they go to Naboo
Yeah,
as well?
and she's crying, and
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not scared. What if they realise you're gone, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But again, she was one of the 3 handmaidens for the senator at the time.
Mhm.
Again, there's not a lot about her. She worked closely with Padme, though. Again, goes on to join the Amidalians. So, there's a lot of them that go, they all sort of survived pretty much.
Mhm.
She was also known as Dora before changing her name to Dorme. Yeah, very cool.
Dora the Explorer.
So this is Irrite.
She got blonde hair.
Yes. So she was the most distinguishable, of the handmaidens,
Mhm.
because she had blonde hair and blue eyes. She was completely different to Padme.
So she couldn't sort of swap places with her, but she was just.
But if you had a hood up, in like we see the handmaidens, you would have been able to.
Or like
tell
the
her.
face paint and the hat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all sort of had their own different roles. She actually was the one handmaiden who was reluctant to sort of change her name, because her name was Iritama.
Oh, okay.
And she sort of wanted to make a name for herself as her birth name. But again, Rabe convinced her to be like, look, after the Padme's term is up, you can change it back if you want.
Yeah.
She didn't, but she was like, you're not going to make you're not going to make a name for yourself as a handmaiden, sort of thing. But so she did eventually go along with it and became Irrite. After Padme's reign as queen, she moved to Otagunga to pursue her career as an artist and engineer. She was skilled with designs, helping to make the Queen's headpiece and dresses more comfortable, lighter, and more functional.
That's good.
So she was a big part in, obviously she realised the headpiece could be made a little bit lighter, so it's more comfortable for her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite cool. Again, another one of the Amidalians.
Yeah.
Now we go on. Again, if I've got the wrong picture for the handmaiden, I do apologise. I'm just going by the ones that I found on the internet. So this is Sache, I think it is. She stayed behind on Naboo. So, by the way, Irte and Sabe and Rabe joined the Queen on Coruscant, left the planet.
Yeah.
But Sache and Yane both stayed behind.
On Naboo.
Yeah. So Sache stayed behind on Naboo. Her and the other handmaidens. This is quite a cool little story. Right? So her and the other handmaidens joined Padme at the lake house for the customary 2-week seclusion during the final campaign of the election of a new queen. So basically, when it was the final 2 weeks of the campaign, the queen goes off to the lake house, and she went there with all the handmaidens. And on the final day, they decided to actually have a bit of fun with Amidala, and they ambushed her when she was resting by the lakes. Like they took her by surprise, and Sache submerged her while all the others laughed.
Oh dear.
So you could imagine them it almost being like a final little holiday,
Yeah.
like all the girls together,
Yeah.
which I think is quite nice.
Yeah.
And really interesting as well that because they must have had a close bond over the time together. She basically was tortured and interrogated by the Trade Federation because she was caught like relaying messages to the resistance on Naboo before she got caught, and she ended up with like scars and marks around her neck from the interrogation and torture. And then Yano, I hope you guys are not confused right now. There's so many. Yane also stayed behind on Naboo, helping the resistance. She had a very soft heart. She volunteered to help Naboo's orphans.
Yep.
And very cute, she married Sache around 24 BBY. And they fostered many children together. So Yane and Sache, they sort of both liked each other, but they didn't realise it was like re-syndicate. Like I like you, but I don't think you like me, and it's like, but I like you, and I don't think you like me. So, but yeah, they married. I thought it was quite nice. So this one you might know. So this is Tekla Minau. She was first introduced in the Clone Wars. She ended up going on a mission with Padme to Scipio, to the banking clan, where she was killed by bounty hunter Embo.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, I really liked Embo, but then he kills one of her handmaidens.
I don't like him at all.
Well, now I don't like him. Really interestingly, in a blink and you miss it moment, she appeared as an attendant at the lake house in Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
So you'll see like someone helping out or something. But that was actually Tekla.
That's cool.
Which is quite cool.
That's
again,
cool why they made her like a more important character after the films.
Yeah. Just going on to quickly to a couple here that we don't see. So we got Duja. She was first mentioned in Thrawn Alliances, the book.
Okay.
She entered Padme's service after she joined the Senate, and mourned the death of Corday with Padme, but left her service before the end of the Clone Wars. So, yeah, she was with her, but she left. She died on Batuu while investigating a separatist factory, leading to Padme going there to find out what happened to her.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. We got Karte. Not a lot is known about her. Like we don't know anything basically. She has one appearance in the Forces of Destiny episode, The Imposter Inside, but even then that was a bounty hunter using her identity to get to Padme. So we know of her, but we don't see her.
Yeah.
So then the final two, we have Morte and Ella. So these two were Padme's handmaidens in the final days of the Republic, and this is Morte here in the background, and she accompanied Padme to Palpatine's speech about the attempt on my life has left me scarred.
Yeah.
So she was here with her, and then here we have Ella. Again, she's around, but we don't really see much about her. Yep. Also, one I do want to quickly mention Versailles.
Mm-hmm.
So when Padmé became senator, she got 3 handmaidens: Dorme, Corday, and Versailles. Sadly, Versailles also died in the Corday bombing.
Oh.
So when Corday died, Versailles died as well. So Padmé lost 2 handmaidens then.
That's why we see Dorme a lot.
Yeah. Which is quite sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That is
a lot of A's.
yeah, that is that.
Their names are all A on the end, and they Padmé,
Chloe.
Chloe.
Chloe. That would be your
yeah.
That would be your Padmé name, like handmaiden name. Chloe.
Yeah.
So we've had Corday. Oh no, Chloe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for the Padmé and the Handmaidens.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like a bit of a band, doesn't it? Like
it does.
Next up, we have Padmé and the
Handmaidens. Yeah.
That'd be actually quite funny. You could do like a funny little skit for that. You could have like Padmé as singer, and then the rest of them on like guitar, drums. And...
I mean, they'd have the whole like concert outfit sorted, wouldn't they? They've got a whole wardrobe.
I love it.
Yeah. Wow. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's
yes.
A lot of people. So we didn't confuse you.
We hope you enjoy that and take the information in. If you don't, watch and listen back this as much as you need if you want to actually find out about them. So, Trooper of the Week.
Yes. So we have.
These are very cool, by the way.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Let's
like
look.
Faulessart?
Faulessart.
I don't know. But this is really cool. Like digital art sort of drawings. I'm trying to get it to focus a little bit better. But they've done the 5-1st, the 332nd, 212,
That's so
and
cool.
then the ARC troopers as well. Like
very cool.
Echo and
Fives.
They look so cool. Like they look kind of like our podcast cover, to be honest. That's what they reminded me of. But like they're really detailed. I really can't show you very well.
Yeah, that's
you
quite
kind of see it there. But yeah, really detailed. I thought we'd give them Trooper of the Week because they're really cool.
That is very cool. I'd maybe get
I really
in touch
like
with
the
them.
Rex one. Like Rex at the top, he looks really cool.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get in touch with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for Trooper of the Week. We have a meme of the week to finish. We have a Padmé related one.
Because why not? So it's Sabe saying, Padmé, clean this droid up as best you can. This is payback for all the hours I waste giving you elaborate hairdos.
I mean, I will admit, when we watched the film earlier, I did sort of have a chuckle because it's like, could you imagine if Padmé was like, what are you doing? Like, she's like,
yeah.
Padmé, clean this droid up. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm the queen.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's kind of always confused me because I'm like, why are you asking her to clean? But then also, R2D2 is Padmé's droid, so.
Yeah, but at the time it's not. It's just a droid for the ship. But still.
Yeah. I think it is a bit weird how they've asked the actual queen to clean it, but.
Could you imagine if she's like, no, I'm the queen, you clean.
I mean, I imagine her hairdos do take a long time to do.
True. But a lot of them are also headpieces as well. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know if Sabe's role would have been like hair, but
yeah,
you find out as well when you read some of the I haven't read the books or listened to them myself, but
the Queen's power.
Yeah, you get a real good insight into Padmé and her handmaidens, and they were considered friends as well, which is quite nice. Yeah. So yeah, we hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys.
Yes.
Again, just a bit of a fun one, different one, because we've never really spoken about Padmé, and I thought give her and the Handmaidens a bit of a shout out because they don't get any. Really cool. Yeah, they don't get any recognition. So shout out to all you Handmaidens.
Yes.
But that's it for us. We will be back next week with another fun episode.
Yes. And next week we will talk a bit about the Comic-Con as well.
Yes. So any photos, that we get with like troopers or, well, we will let you know. But from me, may the force be with you guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see